It's been a while since you fought in Tampa.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really cool to see that happening. It goes down February 15th, right here in Tampa at the Combat Quest 6. Michael Cora and Ezekiel Zarita, and that's really a treat for the fight fans in Tampa.
Yes, it is.
And welcome back. How's it feel to be fighting back at home? It's been since 2016, a little over 3 years. You fought at RFC, went off and did your thing at the UFC Contender series throughout those years. Mm-hmm. What are your feelings like? Tell me, is it excitement, nerves? What is it?
I wouldn't say nerves, but definitely excitement. So excited to be back home and to fight in front of my family and friends. This is home to me. I've lived here for 20 years, so this is my backyard. I envision one day fighting in the Amalie Arena. So to fight here in a local promotion, it just sets the stage for something great in the future. So I'm excited.
Yeah, and it's a it's a really good platform too. You know, we'll have a pay-per-view for you to get the exposure on there as well. And tell me about the opponent for you. You know, what would you say went into taking the fight? I'm sure, you know, with your experience level, you know, being on a journey to UFC and all these different things, I'm sure that you have to put a little bit more thought into what fights you take. So what kind of thought went into this one?
To be honest, I just wanted to get back to inside the cage. So I just wanted to fight. When I got the opportunity that it was Ezekiel on short notice, it was kind of awesome because I've been in the gym, I've been ready, I've just been seeking for a fight. 2 years out of the cage, you kind of are getting antsy and want to get back in there just to have fun and tangle. So to have Ezekiel, after I researched him and realized, you know, he is a tough opponent, 4-2 coming from Argentina, game, you know, he's going to definitely bring the fight to me. I thought it was a perfect fight. So to get back, get my feet rolling, get my feet wet, and so I'm excited. Ezekiel, he's going to bring the fight, but I just think there's a little difference in levels. So I look to implement that. Believe I'm better in every aspect of the fight game. So it's going to be fun.
While we're on that topic, I mean, you know, I respect that you believe you're better in every place that the fight can go, but what dangers do you think that he's going to bring that you might want to look out for a little bit more than the others?
You know, definitely, you know, any of it, left hand, right hand. He's a type of fighter that is going to wing a lot of punches, very looping hooks. So definitely got to be worried about that. You don't want to get touched by anything. And then could definitely see him wanting to take the fight to the ground. I could definitely see him, because that's probably his strongest attribute for him. But I still believe I'm a better wrestler and jiu-jitsu practitioner than him as well. Mm-hmm. So if he looks to take the fight there, which is going to be extremely hard because I'm going to dictate and put the fight on my terms, then we can go there and we'll have fun, and I'll show that I am a better grappler than him, and hopefully get my first ever submission this fight. So
wow, no submissions in your career? That's surprising. You Gracie Jiu-Jitsu.
I know.
You know, you started at Gracie North. You know, you're at Gracie Tampa South with Matt Arroyo and that gang. And no submissions. No submissions. So what does Matt Arroyo and the guys over there say about that to you?
They're a little upset, but
what belt are you? Huh? Well, not that I'm judging. I have no place. But what belt are you in?
Blue belt.
Yeah, that's probably why. Yeah. I'm just kidding.
But in reality, to be honest, I always roll with the higher belts, of browns and black belts, and you know, yeah, I'm a blue belt.
Do you believe that a submission in the cage would earn you that next belt? Not that I don't think that matters as much. I think, you know, what your performance and stuff, not belts and colors. Of course, there's a whole culture to that. But do you believe that might be like the key is?
That'll be awesome. Yeah. I mean, that'll be super exciting.
Was it
I'll be surprised.
Billy Quarantillo just got his black belt, and you know, after his UFC debut, which was phenomenal.
If I earn a submission, I think Arroyo will give me my pro belt, which would be well overdue.
Now he's not going to. Just because
he understands that I'm a knockout artist. I like to strike because I'm a striking specialist. That's my strongest attribute, strongest thing I bring to the fight game. So got to make the fight easy for yourself and leaving it on the feet, me moving, me dictating with my hands and my kicks. It's going to make the fight easy for us. So that's where we look to go. Yeah, we know if we hurt him and he's going to be on his back and we're putting the pressure to finish him, there's going to be opportunity to submit him in that little maybe 15, 20, 30-second realm. So I look to definitely get it if it's there, because there's a couple different submissions that I've been working on, and extremely hard because, like I said, I've been doing jiu-jitsu for 9, 10 years. So everyone thinks that I can't do jiu-jitsu. It's just
you're the truest blue belt if there ever was one.
What?
You're the real deal in the blue belt division for sure.
One thing I want to say.
Wow, please.
John Jones is a blue belt.
You're right. That's a good point. Phenomenal.
But
like
I don't want
said,
to compare.
As I said, the color belt is, first of all, no place for me to say who should be and not. But I also believe there's a certain culture to that. I believe your records and your performances are really what speak much louder. So
one of the biggest reasons why I am a blue belt is because I don't do the gi. I hate the gi.
But you're an MMA fighter.
Aurelio gets on me so hard every time. So I try to do the gi as much as I can, but when I'm getting ready for fights, I really don't put the gi on because I don't play the lapel grabbing.
Right.
Because
you don't want to develop bad habits.
An elbow, you're gonna get off. You're gonna detach yourself from my lapel.
Interesting.
I always tell Aurelio that. I don't like to be disrespectful. I'm like, Aurelio, like if you're grabbing my lapel, I'm gonna hammer fist you, elbow you. You're gonna have to defend that, right?
Yeah, and then you're letting go immediately.
So I do, like to put the gi on here and there, because it's the perfect time to sweat. You get a great workout, you sweat so much. But
and it's probably great just to go, a little bit more traditional, and that there's a different aura to that.
Yes.
Right, for sure.
But I realize that, there are levels to this gi, because when you get hit with the bow and arrow choke, you're like, okay, I definitely gotta do this a little bit more.
Yeah, and it's probably smart, when you're in an MMA fight camp, especially the higher level you go. You're gonna very seldomly have UFC fighters fighting at an elite level who are training gi during fight camp.
Yeah.
It's a little bit counterproductive, I would say. And I've gotten that knowledge from black belts, Rob Kahn, other people who have set those examples, given me some knowledge like that. And I think it's pretty obvious, right? You're wearing spandex in a UFC fight. So, while we're on the topic of Matt Arroyo, Gracie Tampa South, let me just try to put a few pieces together here to line up my next question. You've had a chance with the UFC with the Contender series. You had a great opportunity for exposure. Dana White knows who you are. A lot of people know who you are now. The fight didn't go your way. So, of course, that brought you back just a little bit to have to kind of reset, get things going again for yourself, find a new path to that, to that goal of yours, right? There has to be some positivity when you see your teammates and some reassurance. And when you see, for instance, Billy Q, he's in the UFC now. He's got a fight coming up this month in DC, but he didn't get in the UFC on his first try, right? So there has to be some, watching your own teammates be able to do that and be able to bounce back from a 2 or 3 year injury and then actually get to where he is. That has to really reassure you that it is possible.
Yes, of course. Billy, he's to me, he's my leader. He's my big brother. Someone that when I first ever started training and fighting, he was someone that I looked up to because he trained at South and he already had 4 or 5 amateur fights under his belt. So there's someone that you will always go to because he's captain. I call him captain because he's earned that. And then you have Farola. So with Billy, 2015 is when he was on the show with Ultimate Fighter Tough 22 with Uriah Faber and Connor. I remember that like it was yesterday because I still wear the UFC shirt he gave me.
And we still watch the highlights of Connor and Faber and the teams. A lot of fun.
Cody wanted to strangle Connor
that was great.
And all that.
Phenomenal.
But when you see someone like Billy who's worked, and no one knows he had a torn ACL a year before
the hand injury.
So he just had 2 fights in recently. So you had the Contender Series fight, and before that he had a boxing fight.
That's right.
That whole year he was recovering from a torn ACL. No one knew that, but his mentality is so strong every single day.
Is this breaking news? Is this no one knows this?
No one knew this.
Interesting.
And when you
is that a jiu-jitsu injury?
Maybe just over time wear and tear. But when you see that in someone like Billy, someone that's just so dedicated and so strong, you look to just follow the lead. So for him to come off a torn ACL, and when Billy, it was nothing to him. He overcame every barrier that stood in his way. And then he comes back, has a boxing match, does phenomenal. First ever professional boxing match in his entire life, does phenomenal, wins the decision.
I was there ringside. And
then goes into and then he has his Contender Series fight.
Yeah.
No tune-up for MMA, and then goes in there, and the first round
took it a little bit.
back against the wall.
Sure.
You know,
but I love adversity. There's nothing better than seeing someone. And if he came out and starched him in the first round, great. We'd all, you know, everyone in his team, they'd celebrate, love it. But to watch someone fight through adversity is just even better.
And then to see that and see him overcome it, and then earn his overdue contract because,
and his
like I said,
belt.
I mean, he got his
that was the next fight.
Yeah, the DC fight after he obliterated.
Oh, the DC fight already happened.
Yeah,
the one in February is where? Or he doesn't have a fight coming up.
No, he doesn't have a fight yet. He has a fight possibly.
It's okay. Go ahead.
Possibly
Go ahead.
in a couple months, maybe 3 or 4 months. So maybe one of those nice cards that are coming up. He'll be in there. He might be alongside with his own teammate Matt Firola. So if you have any type of,
there'll be a sea of red. That's phenomenal.
A sea of red.
A sea of red in the crowd. No, that's really.
And then with the Firola story, I've been with Firola when he's broke both of his hands. I've been in the times that he broke his hand getting for the title fight with Ladarius Jackson. You remember that time for RFC?
I do.
We were in Jackson Wink, break his hand. And every time, he had a setback. When he fought Rosh Monfil, won the decision against Rosh Monfil, but he broke his hand and his ankle. But there was no type of, give-in attitude. He always believed that, his time would come and always persevered. And after he fought Rosh Monfil, comes off of his broken right hand and ankle, and then fights on the Contender Series, does unbelievable, gets his UFC contract. And to see that and see him get 2 or 3 more wins in the UFC now, it's just so remarkable because they're the ones that
that Luis Pena fight was a scrap. That was a scrap. I was ringside for that too. UFC
3-0.
That was a scrap.
In Tampa, 3-0 Matt. I say.
I saw it 2-1, but that's okay. Yeah, I'm as unbiased as possible. Now Luis Pena saw it 3-0 for him, which was that was interesting. And we can, I'll be as fair as possible. You're going to obviously be a teammate, but it was a very fair fight. It was a super back and forth fight. And again, Matt showed that he can fight through adversity and then just keep pushing for him. Wow, I mean, guys like him and Billy, they're so good at, and like I said, that must be really, really inspiring for you to really help you push forward when you're building up, and I'm sure they throw ropes down too, right? It's hey, the weather's fine up here, man, come on up.
Matt is always trying to get me to come up to Long Island, and like I said, they still keep in touch, and they're always asking me, when are you getting back in there? And tell me, give me time. I'm trying to get Michael back to Michael, and now's the time. And so I'm very excited. Billy's going to be there. Probably in my corner, but he's going to be there in the back with us for sure. So it's very exciting because I'm going to capture my first professional title in my city, and the city that I grew up in and made me.
Well, you could have easily become an RFC champion had you had maybe one more event. Maybe.
I wanted to. I always push Joe.
You were right
that.
there.
I was pushing Joe so much, so much for it because I wanted to capture.
Well,
that,
I think you would have had a title fight up now. I mean, where you were at that at that time when you kind of went off and started doing other things, and RFC sort of stopped running their shows. I think you were right there. Yeah, definitely right on the brink.
I was definitely trying to push for it because. Fighting for the local promotion in Tampa, it's always a win-win for all of us. So.
Let's switch gears for a second. What took you to Albuquerque? I know you spent some time with Jackson Wink. You went there. You did some of your own training. What brought you over there? Tell me a little bit about the experience. What you took away from it.
What brought me over there was Matt Firola. 2016, he calls me up and says, "Hey, you want to go to Albuquerque?" And I'm like, yeah. I was like, how can we go? He's like, oh, just do this questionnaire online, and the manager will get back to you. I already did it. He called me. I'll email him to make sure that he gets your question or your application so he can review it and give you the okay. So I was all right. So I did it. Boom, calls me, and by the time you know it, within an hour, we were both got the okay to go to Jackson Wink. So now all we had to do is plan. So it was probably like a month away. We bought our flights and everything. So Matt Firola was the reason why I even thought about going to Jackson Wink or going to New Mexico because of Matt Firola.
So you guys went together?
Together.
I don't know why I forgot that. I'm sorry I forgot
that.
But
it was bittersweet for Matt because we're there, first day, we're getting acclimated and everything. Second day, sparring. So we're sparring, everything's going well. And after sparring, I see Matt is a little upset. So I go over there, and he injured his right hand on the sparring session. So he had to go home all the way from Albuquerque to Long Island to get an evaluation on his hand, which we both knew it was broken because of how it looked. So he was there for 2 days, and so I stood there for myself. I was kind of sad because I was like, oh man, like you're the reason why I'm here. Like I came here with you. Like I want to go home.
You felt a little bit bad, right?
Yeah.
Of course you would.
But Matt, being a brother, he's like, no.
Of course not.
You don't waste this opportunity.
Of course.
Like you stay here, you soak up everything,
Yeah.
and then whatever you get, you bring back. There was one teammate that, because you live in a dorm setting, so you probably have 5, 6 other individuals with you, bunk beds. So this is like kind of like a college atmosphere.
Who were you staying with? Anyone that we would know?
No, not at the moment. But one of the ones me and Farola got close with was Mars. He's Polish from Canada, and he's 8-0. He's a 185er, 6'4".
I'm from Canada.
Yes.
Canadian brother?
Yes,
All right, cool.
Winnipeg.
Okay.
Always invites me, but I tell him it's too cold for me to go there.
That's cool.
But
Hey, go between June 15th and August 30th. That's it right there.
So that was our closest training partner, and when Matt left, that was the one that I stuck by with, and he was already there for probably like a month before us. So he kind of just took me under his wing, and now to this day I still talk to Mars. Literally every time I have a fight or any opponent, I always run it by him because we're kind of analytical in the same department of like how we assess fights. So even with this fight with Ezekiel, I sent him Ezekiel's name, sent me so much information on what we believe we need to do to make the fight easy for us and for us to get this victory. So like I said, brother, and that was the first person I ever met besides going there with Farola. That was a teammate that we stuck with.
That's cool.
And like I said, Matt left the day after, and I was there for 2.5 weeks, really just trying to meet everyone. One of the other individuals that I sparred with a lot was Magomed.
Is he in the UFC?
No, he fights for the PFL. He was the PFL welterweight champion the first season.
I know who you're talking about.
Beat Ray Cooper. So he was Maga was one of my closest training partners.
Well, there's a nickname for you, Maga.
Maga. I mean,
anyways,
as long as he gives it to me.
Moving forward.
But I would train with him, and I couldn't really speak to him because he was Russian. But the manager was Russian as well, Misha. So he would translate for us. And at the time, I was only 1-1 professionally, and Maga had probably 14, 15 professional fights, but was always like so interested and so eager to train with me because I don't know why, maybe like
chemistry. Maybe
Maybe
you saw some talent in your kickboxing and stuff. You wanted to
from that day on, I still talk to him on social media, but that was probably like one of the training partners that I got close with, besides Mars, because we lived in the room together, so we always be with each other. But that would be the other individual that like I would train with, and I realized the Russians are really they're coming here. To invade.
Oh, for sure. If I can interject for a second, just still sticking on the topic of your experience at Jackson Wink, talk maybe a little bit about as far as what you took away from the camp. As far as what I'm getting at is they're known to have maybe some of the best game planning. As far as the big camps in the country. So maybe talk about did you learn anything from that in terms of game planning? Did you learn, what would you say you took away the most from your experience there?
Just how to train as like a true world champion because when you watch the Holly Holmes, the John Jones train, you realize that you really have to pick it up a couple notches to get to that level.
Right.
So it was an honor to be there and just to watch Holly Holmes.
Did you get some time sparring with John at all?
No, I got to roll with him. He hit me with an elbow while we were doing jiu-jitsu. I was like, I had to check myself for a second.
That seems about right.
I'm not bleeding, but the person I worked with a lot of people like Bavon Lewis. Obviously, I sparred with Donald Cerrone a couple times. I even got an invite to his like personal ranch.
Oh, cool.
Which is kind of like so awesome.
Yeah, of course.
Like
you should still take him up on it.
I mean,
why not?
He took me out to the spa one time as well. So like, he's a phenomenal human being. I was going for him
with Connor.
With Connor, I was.
A lot of people were, man.
And my heart broke. And when people would say, "Oh, he threw the fight," it was.
Oh no, of course
you
not.
don't know Connor. I mean, you don't know Cowboy.
You don't know the sport either.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the things I really, really love about not just the UFC but MMA in general. That's not part of the culture. It's not. You know, I'm not saying that boxing's all fixed. I love boxing. I'm, knee deep back in it. Love it. You know, the heavyweight division and all the different names. It's really good right now. It's hot. But the MMA at a high level does not come with the bad culture that comes with boxing. Your crooked judging that's paid for clearly. You don't have that. You don't. And then the other thing is you don't have. The fixed fights. I mean, boxing clearly has had fixed fights in the past. They've had people who have come out and admit to being part of fixed fights. You're not going to get that in the UFC.
No.
And you're also, and then the third thing, I guess, everything comes, it comes in threes. The third thing that I love about the UFC compared to the boxing is the best fighter fights the best fighter. 9 times out of 10. Boxing, they're avoiding each other. And then eventually, hopefully, they don't lose, and then they can fight each other. And that's where Anthony Joshua completely screwed up. And you don't, that's one thing that you don't typically get that often in the UFC. You get the best guys that fight the best guys. That's what Dana always wants. He wants the best possible fight, not to take a guy who's the world champion and then coddle him.
Yeah.
And that's great. That's a really good thing. That's what keeps things moving in the UFC. In boxing, you have a guy with a belt for a year, and then there's just too much that comes with that with the boxing world.
Yeah.
So let's go back to Tampa here, switch gears again, and we're fighting on February 15th, and that's on Saturday night. It's going to be at the Florida State Fairgrounds, Combat Quest 6.
The Minrig Hall?
I'm sorry.
The Minrig Hall.
I take that back. Minrig Hall in Largo. And you're going to be the main event against Ezekiel Zarita. So, again, not a tune-up fight for you. This is a for real fight. I mean, you can't call this a tune-up fight. And this is a dangerous guy. He's pretty long too. He's very rangy. So if you can, maybe just elaborate a little bit more on Ezekiel and what you see, in this fight physically, the way that it goes.
I definitely see him. Like I said, he's gonna bring the fight. He's gonna come. He's not coming over here to sit down to me. Definitely, he's gonna come here to get this title. And also, him fighting me, he understands. And I'm not trying to be conceited at all, but he understands that having my name in his resume will do very well for him moving forward. So if you come here and capture this win, it's a big, it's not really
Dana
about
White
the
will
title.
recognize that. If he comes across his record, he'll say, oh, I know Michael Cora.
And then, so it'll be big for him. And if he comes in here and, finishes me, it's going to be great for him. But me personally, I know he's not an easy fight. I prepared 150% for this fight, and I'm going to go in there and look for the finish from the starting bell. I believe I'm a better striker. He might be long, but when it comes to playing that game, I do it very well. I'm going to be happy if he tries to shoot and tries to take me down, because I'm going to show him that I'm better in that aspect as well. And hopefully I get my first submission. But I'm looking for the finish from start to finish. Definitely I want that TKO. I want to put him to bed. But whatever he gives me in the fight, I'm going to take.
Right.
So I'm just be very patient, but I'm going to be in his face, pressuring him from the start to finish.
Are you the type to give it a read at the beginning of the fight?
Yeah, I'm very analytical, so I like to play chess when I'm in there, but I know that he doesn't do well with pressure. I know that if you put punches in his face, even if the punches are not landing, if the one does land, he will shoot. So put punches in his face and pressure him to make him react, and that's what we want, because the reaction is going to be the shot every single time. He would duck his head and try to grab, so
He'll have to watch out for your reaction at that point too.
yeah, it's a lot of things that we can do, but like I said, I'm not taking him lightly. I prepared, for the toughest Ezekiel ever. I know he's going to bring the fight to me, because I know he understands that the stakes are high. He can win his first professional title, and he also can put someone that, like I said, I'm not being conceited, but someone that
has a good resume.
Has a good resume. I don't believe I have a good resume, but I do believe I'm the best in the world, and it's a matter of time before the whole world realizes that. And I'm looking to get back there. So him getting a victory over me, it will be big for his career, but I look to put a halt to all that, and hopefully I get the first round finish, but I'm going to be very patient and look for the finish from start to finish. So.
Yeah, you're not paid by the hour. If we can talk a little bit about the UFC Contender Series experience that you had, What was that? 2017.
Mm-hmm.
2017 was in the summer.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're looking at now. You're going on about. It's been about 3 years almost
Mm-hmm.
since then. Just talk about the experience. Talk about, if you don't mind, just opening up a little bit, like how you dealt with that and bounced back to where you are now, which seems like you're in a good place. I could tell from the moment you walked in and we were talking. You're clearly back on your horse and ready to go. So just, if you don't mind, open up a little bit. Tell us how you dealt with all of that.
So the Contender Series was an awesome experience. I wish some things that happened outside of the cage didn't really occur. But we can't rewind time. We can't go back. All we can do is move forward. But perfect experience, amazing experience. Got to see the UFC PI. Got to meet, the Forrest Griffins, the Uriah Fabers, the Uriah Halls, the athletes that I admired and looked up to. So it was a great experience. I wish I'd have got the victory on there, fighting Siniala, who's a great grappler. I wish I could have did a little bit more to get that victory, get that finish.
What could you say went wrong during the fight?
There was nothing that went wrong. It was just I was not locked in. I was just not locked in.
You weren't at your optimal space.
I thought I was locked in, but I wasn't.
How do you tell? During the moment or afterwards, and when you're looking back?
Afterwards, because in the moment you're going to be very delusional in a way because you always want to tell yourself. It's a psyche thing. You always want to tell yourself, I'm ready yet. So, I think every moment I felt great. I prepared well, but I just wasn't fully there. Hats off to Sydney because he's a terrific grappler. Had a terrific game plan, which we all knew what his game plan was to come in and take me down, and then ultimately try to get on my back and submit me. That's what he usually always does. But fighting to decision, getting out of those submission attempts that he had in the fight, just showed me that I have a lot more here. I just need to take my time and wait for my perfect timing. After that fight, I was very sad. I thought I blew my opportunity in front of Dana White because everyone would tell me that Dana White was really rooting for me. He really wanted me to go in there and get that knockout because if I'd have got that knockout and I could have defended those takedowns exactly what he wanted, it could have been a great thing for me moving forward with the UFC because I'm a great knockout artist and striking specialist, which he loves and all the fans love. So knowing that kind of really broke my heart. I was very, very depressed. Even hearing Eddie Alvarez, come up to me afterwards and tell me that, hey, don't hang your head. Sidney, he does that to everyone. He takes me down like that. Like, you're going to be back. So the reassurance of him, still believing in me after I just faced defeat from his teammate was awesome. But still, my heart was broken because I missed that opportunity. So I felt like it was going to be forever to get back there. So I was very, very, very depressed. Put on a little bit of weight. It's back to like 230, 240.
I can't even picture you at that weight.
Yeah, I was just very depressed. I was soaking. I didn't want to do anything. Really.
You wouldn't do my radio show.
Yeah, I didn't
and
want
I
to
understood.
fight.
That's why I didn't push it. It's a tough thing.
Yeah, I was very, very sad. But I realized what I'm going to do is sulk and cry for the rest of my life and pity pat. Like, no, I got to get back on.
How long did that take you to kind of shake that off and get out of that slump?
At least 2 months. And then I took the Rico fight. And when I took the Rico fight, I was not in the perfect
mind space.
Well, like I said, I thought I was. I would tell myself I was. But especially like when I look back to it, just if you saw me in my overall being, I wasn't there. Weight-wise as well, waking up 195 fight week, that's unheard of. Like trying to cut 25, 26 pounds the week of the fight. It's very dangerous. I didn't make weight for the fight, missed it by 3 pounds. Still believe
well, now at least we know now why that was.
Mm-hmm. Still believe I beat Rico. I watch the fight all the time, and I still believe I beat him in the 3-round decision. Lost the fight, understandable. And that setback,
Set you back a little bit more?
A little bit more, but not really, because I truly believe I won that fight. So I wanted to fight again, and then I fought Euros Jurisic, 8-0, undefeated his whole amateur and professional career. And then I lost the decision to him. And so I realized then, like, man, Michael, like, you're not doing something right. Like, you can't continue to do the same thing over and over and expect something else to come. You know, it's insanity. Yeah. So I decided I'm not gonna fight right now. I'm gonna take my time to myself. I'm gonna relax. I'm gonna get Michael back to Michael, because I can contend with the best in the world, but I need to take that extra step. I need to take that jump. So I realized, you know, let me take some time to myself. I went to Colorado for about 4 to 6 months, trained there with a coach and a teammate that I met in Albuquerque. He brought me to Colorado after my fight, reached out to me. He watched me spar Cowboy. And the first thing he told me after my Euros Jurisic fight, February 2018, which was my last fight, was, that's not the Cora I know. That's not the Cora that was in there hunting when he sparred Cowboy. To really, I believe he understood that I wasn't going to be, like, probably realized I was in a dark place for losing another decision, so offered to bring me out there and help Anthony get ready for his upcoming title fight. So I went out there, helped Anthony get ready. Anthony Adams, Sugarfoot from Denver, Colorado. He is 9-1 or 10-1 professionally. He fights at 85, 170. That's my brother as well. He fought on the Contender series as well. Lost a split decision, which I believe he won.
That's got to be tough. A split decision on the Contender series.
He won.
It's got to be tough.
He won. But he lost a split decision. So I went out there for 2 weeks. I was going to stay there for 2 weeks, and then I ended up staying there for 4 months, just training every single day with them.
Was that, would you say, if you don't mind me interjecting, more of more to get your mental space back to where it needs to be, more than the actual physical training, was being there and just building yourself back up and all that?
Yeah, so being there and being around him and Anthony, you know, I realized I still have the love for it. I still love because every single day, that's all we did was get up, train, and eat, go on hikes, train. Like, that's all we did. So the love was still there, but I knew that I needed to come back home to Tampa to really put it all back together. Put all the remaining pieces back together, because that was home. Like, I love Colorado, but at that moment I couldn't live there.
Something was missing. You felt better, but something was still missing.
And so I sat them down and I was like, hey, you know, like, I love you guys. Like, I love training here. I love being here, but I have to go home and get myself back to myself so I can get ready to be able to fight. Because they would always ask me, hey, you know, whenever you're ready, I can get you a fight whenever. And I will always tell them, not yet, still waiting. And they both watch me spar the best and the best, and they know my capabilities and the talent that I have. So I just knew that I just needed to take some time to myself.
Excuse me.
And they understood it as well. And to this day, like, I talk to them. Like, I ran Ezekiel by Anthony and Coach Thomas, and they both gave me their perfect analysis, which is kind of identical on especially what I want to do for the fight and what I bring to the table. They love the fight for me. It's a very fun fight, they believe, and they both believe that I'm gonna get my first ever title.
What was the moment that you knew that, okay, I feel like I'm Michael again, or at least I'm real close to that, and then you decided it's time to go home? Was there something that happened, or that you realized, like, okay, I'm back to where I want to be. I gotten what I needed out of this journey here to Colorado. What was that turning point for you?
So, you know, I got back from Colorado. Still, like, I still took a year to myself. And 2019 came around, and, you know, I was always had the vision of getting back to fighting. So I knew I had to take my time, get myself ready, and I had to also fix some negative, I wouldn't say drama or anything, but negative indifferences between
personal life stuff.
Someone that I needed to clear the air with, fixing
I
differences.
understand completely.
And so going into like...
Was it a teammate?
It's my coach.
It's your coach. Matt?
Yes. Okay. And so I had to fix some things with Royal, but getting up to that point, I just turned 30 in August. I was getting ready to fight. I wanted to fight in November, December, but I didn't want to push it. So I kept taking my time.
What was it, if you don't mind, that had the distance between you guys?
Just a contract dispute.
Okay. You can leave it at that. I don't need to know anymore.
It was just a contract dispute.
Okay.
Going into the contender series.
Okay.
But it was a mistake I made.
Okay.
I truly believe
that's very humble of you.
I believe I was the wrong one. I was just young.
Very humble for you to say that. That's good.
When I think of it now, I wasted a year and a half, 2 years of being away from everyone, and so it was me. That's what it comes down to. So I wouldn't have made the decision to talk to Arroyo if it wasn't for Mona. To be honest, because
that's amazing.
I know, I don't know what, but she gave me this this reason to go and fix that with him.
You always wanted to. You just needed.
I always wanted to.
You needed that support.
I'm a very prideful individual. Sometimes the pride can get the best of me, and it did. It got the best of me, and I knew that fixing that would fix everything, because I love everyone in our school. I love Arroyo. He's always been that, I envision him like my uncle. Him and my uncle has the same birthday. And my uncle's not here. He passed away in 2015. But someone that I've always my uncle, he boxed. So growing up, he would teach us the art of boxing. And so when people were like, "Oh, Cora can box," I didn't think I could box. My uncle, he can really box. I can't box. I just
What was your uncle's name?
Jose Pardo. They call him Cano because he was short and fast. Two-time national glove champion from Brooklyn.
Wow. Golden gloves?
Yeah, was gonna go pro, but his fiance at the time decided to not allow him because he broke his nose.
He needed one like you.
Yeah.
No, I'm totally kidding.
And because my uncle, he broke his nose bad.
I'm sure your aunt was a great person.
Yeah. But someone that's always been there for me, and was at my first ever amateur fight. And when he ever first.
Did you win that fight?
Yeah, I won.
What was that like with you and your uncle?
So my uncle, my aunt, right there, my uncle's standing next to my aunt. My aunt is hysterically crying, hysterically crying. And
before you go to battle.
Before I'm going to battle, so I have to look at her and, hey, it's okay,
Yeah.
And then that fight in Kissimmee, the first 15 seconds I get hit with a right hand. It goes blank. I could not see anything. So I could have just stopped fighting and just folded, but something inside me made me continue to fight. I won that decision 3-0, dropped the guy 4 times in rounds 2 and 3 in total. And from that point on, my uncle had that belief in me. So my uncle is someone that I look up to, and I remember going into my first professional fight. That's when he passed away. I told him I'm going to be a world champion. I promise you I'm going to continue this journey, because he really, truly believed in me. And he always tell me, he's like, no one can mess with you. Once you master that right hook too, no one's going to mess with you. And I'm like, thank you, I love you. But so when I see Arroyo, I see my uncle in him. So someone that
really going to look out for you.
Yes, and it means well. And so that decision I made a couple years ago cost me, and it was.
Matt is a really good guy.
It was
very fair.
More of a mistake that I made, and what should never happen.
And a phenomenal mentor too. Not only has he been to the big show, but he has a roster of his own students who are at the big show. I mean, that's an amazing kind of mentor and coach to have. Is proven track record in so many different ways. And look at that. Excuse my sniffle, I'm a little bit sick. But Gracie Tampa South, right? Really stepping it up. I mean, not to say it wasn't always an amazing camp, but now we're talking about a multitude of fighters there who are UFC fighters, and that's a big thing to say.
And a lot more coming.
Like you.
Yes, for sure.
For sure. So, before we wrap up, we'll just kind of, we're here to promote your fight, of course. and you're fighting Ezekiel Zarita, and that's going to be just about a week from now, Saturday, February 15th in Largo at the Minrig Hall. You're the main event. It's for the 170-pound title, welterweight title. Any last thoughts?
I'm excited. Can't wait to go in there and feast.
We're very excited. I'm really excited to see you fight. Of course, I'm excited to see Ezekiel fight as well. It's going to be really, really cool. People who want to get tickets, if you're here supporting Michael Cora, you can go on vigilantmma.com. You can get the tickets there. Make sure you let them know that Mike's your guy, or any other fighter if that's your guy. Or I don't think there's any girls on this card, but yeah, MMA, vigilantmma.com. It'll be February 15th, Minrig Hall. I'll be ringside with my broadcast team. Jessica Borga out of Champions MMA, and then Vince McGinnis from, I believe he has his own dojo now. So
one of my brothers.
Yeah, we're looking forward to hearing more about that from him. Michael, I'm really, 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 really happy to see you back, man.
It's always a pleasure.
Back on that
Thank you
horse.
very
I can
much.
tell that you're there, and it's really cool.
The only way I can explain it is tune in February 15th, come to Minrig Hall, or buy the pay-per-view if you're streaming, across the nation or wherever, and my performance will speak for itself.
It'll be worth the price alone.
Yeah, I'm gonna let my artwork speak for itself. So
yeah, man. If you're last minute, don't worry. Tickets are at the door, and you'll be able to buy them there as well too, man. Michael Cora, an absolute pleasure, man. Cookie Monster.
Yes. Oh, we might change that.
We'll find out in the next show.
Yes, we will.
All right, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was always a pleasure.
Thanks.
Thank you.